Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's Regulator60 here, and I hope you are having a fantastic day, simply fantastic. And I'm bringing to you a coach's interview for National Pokeball League Minors, and I'm welcomed by a very, very special guest. You want to introduce yourself, bud?
What's up, guys? This is Aster. I'm here for yet another season of the NPL Minors. I did say at some point that I wasn't going to be in this season, but I changed my mind almost immediately, and here I am.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to start you off heavy, but you seem to be really down on yourself at the end of last season. What made you change your mind, dude?
It was something that a good friend of mine told me. We kind of weeded out all the best players from last season. They all moved up to majors, so of what remains, I'm definitely in the top three. I agree with that. Just from my history with play in league format, and I'm gonna heed his advice, and I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep trying to get back my place in majors.
Yeah, dude, that's definitely something to look forward to. Is that, I mean, you've had an incredible run in the very first season. You know, you had a team, really strong offensive core between like Kieran Black, Lucario, Mega Diancie. That was your team in minors last season, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Built around those three.
Flygon put in a lot of work for me. Lucario especially got a couple of key sweeps. And I loved my team last season, but there was just something lacking, and I think I figured it out. So,
ooh, do you want to spoil it for us?
I think I drafted a team that I wasn't used to, and it's not my style at all. It was very heavily offensive, and my only real wall was Orion, and I relied on it way too much.
Right.
Rotom Heat came in as a wall from time to time, and I couldn't live with only Vaporeon as my only wall, because it was open draft last season, and everybody had drafted so many huge offensive threats that I made a mistake by doing the same. It did carry me into playoffs, but it's what prevented me from continuing and making it into majors, so I'm going to fix that this time around.
Yeah, that's an important thing that you mentioned, that is that, when you have a lot of different Pokemon available to you, like in free draft, you can tend to follow the crowd with offensive teams, and I think really with like the introduction of Z Crystals and stuff, everyone was on the offensive like bandwagon. You're not alone in that. I've seen plenty, even coaches of majors fell for the trap of, I got to build a lot more offensively, and do you think in the direct far as leagues are going, a lot more coaches are going to go back to trying to build like balanced teams and like maybe even semi-solve perhaps?
Yeah, I was actually a question that I got on Twitter from David, who was somebody that also didn't make it through to majors last season. He asked specifically, he said, you've said offense and HO is very good in tournament play. What do you feel that is the best play style in season format this generation? Is it still balanced? And I was actually going to say semi-stall is probably the best. I've only seen one person be able to pull it off, because it's extremely difficult to draft. You need key members early on that prevent you from getting big offensive threats. Like, you would need things like Clefable, Skarmory, and Toxapex before they go, and that keeps you from getting more important offensive pressure onto the drafts. Things like Weavile, I can name, like, for example, Infernape. And as a result, it's an extremely difficult playstyle to draft, so people typically gravitate toward balance. So because of its generality, I would say that balance is the best play style in league format this generation. But if semi-stall was more readily available to players, then it would probably dominate. And I've seen one person specifically in another league that I'm actually going to be hooking myself back up with, the UPA, and one player in particular, Stybe, who just, you know very well, you were in it.
Definitely.
He took semi-stall and he brought it to a new level, so that was one person that I got to see use it, and used effectively. It is one of the most dangerous styles in league format, so yeah, for sure. But I'm going to stick to balance because it's easier to draft.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm a very fat balance type of player myself.
Yeah.
Contrary to some people's beliefs. But that's really interesting that you mentioned that. As far as the draft is concerned, I know you're mentioning balance. Is there any particular type of core defensively that you may be interested in looking at?
Yeah, I'm looking at a few specific mons. The big thing that I want to concentrate on this season as opposed to last season is reliable recovery. It's something that's always carried me through in leagues. If we look back at March Madness, where I came third, one of my big key players was Milotic, and another one was Zapdos, and both of those get access to reliable recovery. And you look at NPL Miners last season, the only two things I had, well, three actually, were Kyurem Black, two. Kyurem Black and Flygon, my two dragons, were the only things with direct recovery in Roost for both of them. Well, I think Flygon is Roost, right? Flygon is Roost. Yeah, and Vaporeon had to pass wishes to everything else because nothing else got recovery. So I want my both my defense and my offense to be able to carry reliable recovery this time around. So there are a few mons that I'm looking at specifically, not necessarily all walls. And another form of recovery that I think I might get, I might draft first, but we'll see about that. It depends on if it gets around.
Ooh, a little bit of wish, perhaps?
No, not that.
No wish support. Okay, that's
I don't want to give away any of my secrets, so.
Any of your secrets. Oh my god. Well, that's really that's a lot of good that you have a plan. I know a couple other coaches aren't too sure about what they want to do as far as approaching the draft is concerned. Is there anyone in particular you want to play this season?
Yeah, George. Subtile MC. I really want to try my hand at him. I know he's one of the best players. He's got back-to-back titles in one of the most fearsome leagues, the GBA. So I know he's going to be a very tough opponent, and I want to see if I could take him down. So that's somebody that I'm really excited, and hopefully he's on my schedule.
Oh man, I know that's going to be a very spicy matchup. You know, you're considered to be one of the favorites for this league. How do you anticipate holding the pressure? You know, maybe if you take an early loss due to like hacks, or you know, maybe you make a wrong read, perhaps.
I mean, that happens to everybody. You just have to keep your cool, stay consistent. That's the big things.
That's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess I'll know when I'm in the moment, but take March Madness again. I'll come back to that as an example. I wasn't under any kind of pressure because I didn't think that I would perform well, and I ended up making, technically fourth place because I never played my third place match. I was way too tired by then. But
yeah, you made semifinals.
I mean, pressure has never been a huge deal for me. To be perfectly honest with you, I've had my fair share of it. I've now been an analyst in the GBA. And a lot of people took to heart the analysis that I was giving there. On top of that, I've been part of the GPC. I had a brief stint replacing Rob, formerly Robin Vart, now Poke-Rob, in the NPL Majors, which is where I should have stayed, and I would have avoided all of this. But I've had my fair share of very tough leagues, so I know what it is, and by now I'm pretty much used to the pressure.
That's very good that you're confident about that. I know, especially specifically with the NPL and the GBA, you know, a lot of coaches feel pressured to perform really well in these top tier leagues as well. So it's very good that you're optimistic about your performance, and you're very confident that you will do very well. So now we're actually going to see. I don't know if I could find your Twitter polls with all of your questions.
Yeah, I have them up. Are you not prepared, my friend?
I thought it was as simple as a Control F. So apparently not. Do you want to link it to me?
Well, I just linked you to the post, so if you want to go ahead and check it out.
That is perfect. AsterJ. See, this is the difference between somebody who is very calculated and excellent in what he does versus someone who just kind of wings it. And that's why Aster is in the NPL Miners and not me. Okay, so we mentioned what David had said about tournament play, so we'll skip over that. Actually, let's talk about the Flying Birds question about being a GBA analyst. What did you spent time as an analyst? Do you think you learned something specifically from there? And if so, you know, how will it help you with your NPL Miners goals?
You know, specifically with the question, he says, "Is it worth the trouble?" I want to touch on that first because. I did do technically 2 series on the GBA channel. I was initially supposed to be doing the MVP race / Game of the Week series with CJ, and I ended up subbing in for Rob because he dropped out for power rankings, and I never imagined myself doing power rankings this season because it was always a series that I followed closely, and I didn't think that I would ever actually be on it. But it was a lot of work. It was definitely very tough. I would say out of all of the series, it's probably one of the toughest. I don't want to knock any of the other guys. They did a great job. But you have to siphon through every game and every team builder to really come up with an expert analysis on what went down in every game and why you're ranking coaches the way that you are. You're going to get a lot of criticism from the coaches themselves and the fans. That was a big thing for me, was learning to deal with the criticism for the things that you say. People have slip-ups. Sometimes I would say things that weren't 100% accurate. I hadn't done all of my research because of time constraints. But to be honest with you, I would do it all over again because it was a huge learning experience. It is definitely worth the trouble. I'm so glad that I had an amazing partner with me in Jar, one of my best friends. So that really lightened the load. We kept each other in check and made sure we got things done on time as often as we could. So I would definitely do it again, and it definitely helped me improve as a player because I got to see such amazing team building matches. When you have to go through everybody's team builders and everybody's games, you learn about their play styles, you find different tricks of the trade, I guess you could say. So it's definitely a great learning experience for anybody that wants to try it, to apply even to smaller leagues to be a power rankings analyst or any kind of analyst. Analysis work definitely helps your play in the long run. It doesn't hinder it. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that's definitely important that you have mentioned that. I feel like one of my personal mottos is to always take from others and apply it to yourself, because you can really learn a lot from your peers, from people you look up to as well.
Definitely.
Especially in league format, where a lot of the game takes place prior in the prep. And so all the knowledge you can gain from like past scenarios as far as like matchups and sets can really help you out in your own terms of battling.
Yeah.
We'll also move on to, because I want to keep this kind of short.
Yeah.
Even though I think this interview is becoming fantastic. Zazo asks, how many boners do you get a day from watching his videos? And so I'm gonna kind of like twist it. You can answer his question directly, but I do want to know, like, is there anyone you look up to in the Draft League community, and how have they influenced your playing ability and your drafting itself?
I think with anybody else, your viewing on YouTube and who you follow closely shifts a lot, and that's the case with me. At some point, I was following Shadi and Jolt quite closely, both of who are in the NPL majors at this point. There are a lot of people that I look up to. Probably Shadi, one of the biggest ones, I would say. It's a shame that he doesn't upload as often as he used to, because I don't get to catch his games. But he's definitely got a lot of experience. He's a great player. It's kind of a spry question. I didn't think it would come to that. Zazo, for sure. I would say his knowledge on the game. The big guys, Gypsy, Zazo, Maddie, all of them have been a huge inspiration and help in whatever way they can, like even outside of games. They like I said, Zazo, I didn't specifically say his name, but he's the one that convinced me to join back into the minors. He messages me at like 3 a.m. with random stuff sometimes, but there are
some lizard related events.
Yeah, sure. But there's a lot of people that help inside of Pokemon and even outside. So I have a lot of inspirations in this community. I just want to give a huge shout out to my friends in the squad, everybody: Dom, Jose, Ray, Jar, Dan, everybody there, Eric. I can't ever forget Eric or he'll get mad at me. But everybody who's helped me out so far, I would say, is an inspiration to some extent. So to answer Zazo's question directly, 16 boners.
16 per day.
Per day.
Per day. Okay, thank you, Aster, for that quality information. But I think that basically wraps up this interview. Is there any last words you want to say to people maybe watching?
Jose did ask one last question on Twitter. I do want to answer it. Yeah, and a lot of people have asked me this as where I get the name Aster from. So it won't even be on my channel. It'll be on the NPL's channel, but I'll reveal it here for the first time to the public. I was actually a huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh competitively for a long time, and one of the characters' names in the second season in GX was named Aster, and that's where I got my name from. And the
Aster Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly. And the J is just the first initial of my first name, which is Jordan. So that's where the name comes from.
Well, I didn't think you'd answer that, but there we go. I mean, I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh fan too. The Claw of Hermos, I can probably tell. So, yeah, any last words for the people watching at home?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody that has supported me through now. We even have our NPL Miners fan server or our NPL in general fan server, and I have so much support from everybody from the community. A lot of people are Montreal Habsals fans, so I hope to make you guys proud this season and make it up to majors. It's going to be a long road, but we're going to do it this time, guys. I promise. We're going to get the team that we need, and we are going to move up.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We'll be following you along closely, my dude. Thank you for coming and giving us your time here for this lovely interview. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. Go ahead and leave a like, comment if you have any additional questions for Aster and what you're looking forward to this National Pokeball Minor season. It's Gregulator60, and I hope you all have a fantastic day, simply fantastic, and we will say goodbye. So peace out.
Bye, guys.